Next was my first week of teaching, and I feel like this was the steepest learning curve I had. One of the hardest weeks by far of the semester. And the subtitles here are nerves, interruptions, senioritis, and reality. And that's really how I could define that week. My blog here kind of broke down each thing, and I felt like this one entry into my blog really defined and was a big part of my student teaching. And the first thing was nerves. The seniors scared me, and I was just so nervous and like, what am I going to do? They were crazy, so talking in front of the class made me really nervous. I was great one-on-one with them, I was great in groups, but once I got in front of the class, I freaked out. So I went home every day physically exhausted, just done for the day. There are also a lot of random interruptions. The students, because we were doing school at night now, had games, because all the games were 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, so they were leaving school early. There was one class where they had to go get stuff from their lockers that the janitors had gotten, so that entire class missed an entire lesson that every other period was able to get. So I really kind of had to figure out how can I catch one class up that's behind the rest of them. And the last was senioritis. They had senioritis bad enough anyways in second semester, but then you add missing 3 weeks of school, going to school at night. It was just hard. I got complaints, and every time I tried to do anything, something I thought would be fun, they complained about. And they really felt entitled to not have to do anything. They were like, we're second semester seniors, you expect us to work? I'm like, So it was hard. It was a battle. My conclusion from that was that it was a steep learning curve for me, and at first it was really hard. I really struggled with it, but then I felt like I was able to kind of get over it and move on into the actual teaching. The next few weeks is when I really got into the nitty-gritty of teaching, and I just want to highlight a few things that we did throughout the semester. And the first thing is homework menu. We kind of talked about this in class last semester, and I wanted to try it out. I used it as a form of assessment that would provide students who maybe don't like to write with other options other than just writing or multiple choice tests. So you can see I would give this to the students at the beginning of the unit, and then they would have from that point for the next 3-4 weeks, however long the unit was, to complete their homework. And they kind of gave them a sense of autonomy. As seniors, I figured this kind of lets them work at their own pace, and they can decide, all right, do I want to earn enough points for an A? Do I just need to earn enough for a C? Am I just trying to get a D in this class? They could kind of choose what they wanted to do. So I provided several different sections. The first was written assignments, and it just had a lot of different projects, like a news report on the use of suppression of First Amendment rights, an op-ed, and this offered a lot of interdisciplinary skills for the students as well. For those who are visual learners, I had illustrated amendments dictionary and a political cartoon. I'm just going to show you an example of those that didn't really scan well. This was one of the dictionaries, and you can see he just wrote the Third Amendment, defined what it was, and then did a drawing of soldiers coming and someone telling them, no, we do not have to house you. And then a political cartoon that one of my students made discussed freedom of the press, and this first character is Thomas Jefferson, and it's hard to read, but he says, our liberty depends on freedom of the press, and that cannot be limited, or it will be lost. Next, you have Theodore Roosevelt saying a similar thing about how we need freedom of the press, and finally he has a student from Generation Y, his generation, and he just says, whatever. So I thought that was a really interesting viewpoint from this kid and the student, just realizing kind of how his generation might look at their rights and the importance of it. I also offered current event responses, which I'll show you in a second, chapter questions, and then a movie review. All these movies had to do in some form or another with the first 10 amendments, or the Bill of Rights, and we watched one of them in class. And they would write a paragraph summarizing the movie, a paragraph on how that dealt with their rights, and then if they recommend the movie or not. And finally, this assignment really let room for self-motivation. They had to decide, okay, what is the goal of the grade they want to earn? So they decided before we started the homework menu, I want to get this grade, earn this many points. They would turn this into me, and I would keep track of their points throughout the unit. So they kind of had motivation to reach their goal.